Hi, I'm Mark. In Paris, 1900, missing a single morning shift could mean losing a full day's pay, and for many families, that meant cutting back on food by evening. This city depended on daily wages, fixed work hours, and nearby markets where food had to be bought fresh, often with money earned the same day. Most people lived close to their work, not by choice, but because time and transport costs left little margin for delay. Today, we follow an ordinary day to understand what daily life required from people in Paris, and what it quietly took from them. Morning in Paris begins inside narrow apartments built for efficiency rather than comfort, where entire families share one or two rooms. Many workers wake before sunrise, not because work starts early, but because preparing in limited space takes time. Water must be carried from a shared tap or courtyard pump, often before queues form. Privacy is minimal, and the day starts with coordination rather than rest. Heating is minimal in most homes, even in colder months, so mornings are brisk and functional. Coal or wood is used sparingly, saved for evenings rather than early hours. Clothing is layered, worn repeatedly, and repaired rather than replaced. Comfort is postponed until work is done. Breakfast is brief and predictable. Bread, coffee or watered wine, and sometimes a small portion of cheese provide enough energy to begin physical labor. Meals are planned around affordability, not preference. Eating quickly reduces the time spent waiting for others in shared spaces. Leaving home is a synchronized movement across neighborhoods. Workers descend stairwells built narrow to save space, then step directly into crowded streets. Being late means lost wages or reprimand, so walking speed matters. Time is measured in minutes, not hours. Most people walk to work because public transport costs add up over a week. Proximity to factories, workshops, or markets determines where families live. Distance is a financial calculation, not a lifestyle choice. Housing and employment remain tightly linked. Street vendors appear early, offering bread, milk, and produce to those with time to stop. Prices are watched closely, and purchases are often made daily rather than weekly. Without refrigeration, freshness matters more than variety. Markets shape morning routines as much as workplaces. Children leave home alongside adults. Some attend school, others assist family trades or run errands for pay. Childhood is structured around contribution, not leisure. Education competes directly with household income needs. Factories and workshops open their doors gradually, absorbing workers in waves. Entry is supervised, and attendance is noted. Reliability is valued more than skill for many positions. Being present is the first requirement for keeping a job. Clerks and shop workers begin their day indoors, standing behind counters or desks. Seating is limited, as standing is considered more attentive. The body adapts to long hours of stillness. Fatigue arrives gradually rather than suddenly. Those employed in domestic service begin earlier than most, preparing meals and cleaning spaces they do not own. Work is continuous and closely observed. Living conditions depend entirely on employers. Stability replaces independence. By mid-morning, the city is fully active. Streets carry layered movement of carts, pedestrians, and deliveries. Noise increases, but focus narrows to individual tasks. The day's pace is set early and rarely adjusted. Morning ends not with rest, but with transition. Workers shift from preparation to sustained effort, knowing breaks will be brief. Energy is conserved deliberately. The longest part of the day is still ahead. By late morning, work in Paris settles into repetition. In workshops, hands move automatically as tools follow the same path dozens of times per hour. Speed matters because output determines wages or continued employment. Fatigue begins early, but slowing down is rarely tolerated. In small factories, supervision is constant and informal. A foreman watches pace rather than technique, intervening only when output drops. Instructions are brief and practical. Authority is felt more through presence than words. Markets remain active through the late morning as deliveries arrive from surrounding regions. Goods are unloaded by hand, sorted quickly, and sold the same day. Spoilage is a daily risk. Speed determines profit as much as quality. Vendors adjust prices as supplies thin. Shoppers calculate purchases carefully, balancing today's needs against tomorrow's wages. Credit is limited and often informal. Trust replaces contracts in small transactions. Clerical workers process paperwork steadily, recording orders, deliveries, and payments by hand. Errors slow the entire operation and can reduce pay. Concentration replaces physical strain, but fatigue builds just as quickly. Mental labor offers little relief. For seamstresses and textile workers, late morning means sustained fine motor work. Eyes strain under inconsistent light, and posture remains fixed for hours. Payment depends on quantity produced. Precision competes with speed. Street labor continues uninterrupted. Porters, cleaners, and delivery workers move constantly between locations. Work is visible, physical, and unprotected. Injury often means lost income rather than medical care. Short breaks appear informally rather than by schedule. Workers eat where they stand or sit on crates nearby. Food is simple and portioned carefully. Rest is brief because time away from work is unpaid. Domestic workers use late morning to complete heavier cleaning tasks. Floors, laundry, and kitchens demand physical effort. Work remains unseen but essential. Social boundaries are reinforced through routine. As noon approaches, attention shifts briefly to food availability. Workers calculate whether wages will cover a full meal or only bread. Hunger influences decision-making. Productivity depends on intake. Late morning ends without ceremony. Work continues seamlessly into midday effort. There is no clear boundary between phases of the day. The structure of time belongs to labor. The afternoon begins with sustained effort rather than renewed energy. Muscles are already tired, but output expectations remain unchanged. Work continues at the same pace as the morning, even as concentration declines. Endurance becomes the main requirement. In workshops, mistakes become more common as hands tire. Errors slow production and draw attention from supervisors. Correcting them costs time that workers do not control. Precision is enforced even when fatigue increases. Street traffic thickens as deliveries overlap with routine movement. Horse-drawn carts, porters, and pedestrians compete for limited space. Navigation requires constant attention. Accidents are frequent and responsibility usually falls on the injured. For outdoor laborers, weather directly affects income. Rain slows progress and reduces visibility, while heat accelerates exhaustion. Protective equipment is minimal. The environment becomes part of the workload. Shop workers remain standing for most of the afternoon. Sitting is discouraged to maintain attentiveness. Legs ache long before the workday ends. Physical discomfort becomes routine. Textile workers manage fabric carefully to avoid waste. Materials are costly and monitored closely. Mistakes affect wages or employment. Responsibility extends beyond speed to stewardship of supplies. Children working alongside adults slow as fatigue sets in. Tasks are adjusted to simpler duties rather than stopped. Contribution remains expected regardless of age. Rest is postponed until evening. Administrative tasks continue despite declining concentration. Ledgers must be balanced before the day ends. Errors discovered later are harder to correct. Responsibility accumulates toward evening. The final hours test endurance rather than skill. Productivity slows but does not stop. The workday stretches toward its end without ceremony. Relief remains conditional. Evening in Paris begins with release rather than rest. Work ends in waves as factories and shops close at different hours. Streets slowly refill with tired bodies moving homeward. The pace softens, but exhaustion remains. Gas lamps are lit one by one as daylight fades. Illumination is uneven, leaving pockets of shadow between streets. Visibility improves only slightly. Navigation remains cautious rather than relaxed. Some stop briefly at neighborhood vendors to buy food for the evening meal. Choices are constrained by remaining wages. Purchases focus on sustenance rather than variety. Evening markets shrink quickly. Inside working-class homes, space fills rapidly as families return. Cooking begins immediately to avoid wasting fuel. Meals are shared quickly and quietly. Eating marks transition, not relaxation. After eating, domestic tasks resume. Clothing is repaired, tools are cleaned, and supplies for the next day are prepared. Leisure is secondary to readiness. The evening is functional. For some, the evening includes a brief visit to a nearby public house. Warmth and light offer temporary relief from crowded homes. Time spent is limited by cost. The visit serves function more than escape. Middle-class households experience evenings differently. Servants manage remaining chores while residents rest. Comfort depends on invisible labor. Separation between roles becomes most visible at night. As night deepens, activity slows across neighborhoods. Shops close fully, and streets thin. The city contracts inward. Energy is conserved for tomorrow. Night in Paris settles unevenly. Gas lamps illuminate only portions of the streets, leaving long stretches in shadow. Movement becomes cautious and deliberate. Visibility shapes behavior as much as fatigue. Police patrols exist but are limited in coverage. Safety depends more on familiarity with routes than enforcement. Doors are locked early, and windows are shuttered. Prevention replaces confidence. Illness and exhaustion accumulate over weeks rather than days. Medical care is limited and often avoided due to cost. Recovery relies on rest that many cannot afford. Health becomes another managed resource. For those still working at night, hours extend quietly. Bakeries, transport services, and cleaning crews prepare the city for morning. Labor continues while others sleep. The cycle does not stop. Outside, the city grows still. Occasional footsteps echo along stone streets. Most activity retreats indoors. Paris rests unevenly. An ordinary day in Paris, 1900, required discipline, endurance, and constant adjustment. Life demanded attention to time, wages, and limits rather than comfort or choice. Work shaped routines from morning to night. The city functioned because ordinary people absorbed its weight, one day at a time.